So, just a quick recap. When I talked to my boss, Jill, she said that sometimes people schedule or enter in their availability incorrectly, forget to request certain days off or request days off, a few days before the schedule is being made, which leaves her little time to refill the request. And then the employee said that there's a lack of communication between management and the front desk / retail department. Our form of communication where the schedule is made is schedulebase.com, which is just a simple scheduling website. So we have to work on our survey ideas for T4.
Okay, so for T2, we came up with like a list of questions, right? So, are we using all 5 questions?
We can. The survey's gotta be, I guess, a little bit diverse on question range, so we could do the 5 questions that, Faye, did you write those questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so we could use your 5 questions and then leave room for extra comments, like an open-ended part, I guess.
And then, did you just want to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or do you guys want to create a survey thing?
We could do what
They
are
have
those?
those online surveys.
Yeah, like a Survey Monkey thing where I could just send it to my coworkers and they could. So we could do that, and then we could just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then since they're all on a scale of 1 to 10, that should
Or
be
we
easy.
can just use Google Forms.
Yeah,
just do
that's
that
true.
Yeah, that'd be easier since we are on a short schedule.
Mhm.
So.
Whichever one, can you send out a link for Google Forms, or do I have to share it via email?
You can send out in an email or anything.
Okay, because it'll probably be easiest if I could just shoot them a text with the link and be like, can you fill this out real quick, so whichever one is easier, that's fine. Let's look at both.
And for Google Forms, you can have it on the Excel sheet right there.
Oh, it can
Yeah.
transfer, okay, that's a good
All the
idea.
answers come to an Excel sheet.
Okay,
So-
cool. Here it is. Google Forms. That way I could share it with all you guys too.
So we should probably start talking about possible solutions, I guess.
Yeah, based on what kind of feedback we may or may not get back.
Yeah, because right now it's saying, for this scheduling, I feel like we should just shoot out some ideas before, that way we can make questions.
Yeah, we can just go around and everyone say an idea. So as far as fixing the scheduling thing, I think it would be most efficient if my boss had a strict week's notice when you need off. Don't take off 3 days in advance. If she makes it and sticks to it and is strict with it, people will respect it, and that'll allow her time to make the schedule and recheck it before sending it out. Whereas if people are taking off a day in advance, then it's
Is she really lax about?
very laid back.
Yeah.
She's 25, so it's a little bit of a mix of being our boss and our friend at the same time, which is good and bad, obviously. Anyone else have an idea?
I want to know how the employee align their schedule by writing or just
We enter in our availability through
Oh, the website.
a website, so every, it shows you every single day that you could work in the year, and then I don't enter in availability, I just enter in when I can't work, so whatever day is blank is when I, can work. Some people enter it in differently and enter in their availability and not when they can't work, so I guess that might confuse my boss, cause if my one coworker's saying, I'm available on this day, this day, this day, but I'm saying I can't work this day and this day, it might confuse her on what days people can't work versus can work. So I guess that would be another way to improve the miscommunication, have one set way, either enter in when you can work or enter in when you can't work.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
So it's like the employees that make the schedule technically, or?
No, she tells us what shifts we can and cannot, I mean, not cannot work, but I could bring up the website too, if that'll help. But we just enter in our availability, so like, this Sunday I can't work, so I wrote can't work, and she won't put me on Sunday due to that.
Does she usually have, like, does she print it out, like the schedule?
No.
It's like your job to like check, or?
Well, we get an automatic email sent to our email. There's an app you can sign up for. It can text you if you sign up for it, but then there's also the website. I usually just know to check the website, but there is an email. Also, like, it provides you, like, if you click on one of your this is the, and like, if I wanted to take off, like, my schedule is down here. So I took off all 4 of these days because of summer classes. But, like, if I needed, you know, Abby to cover me or something, it provides her email. And then some people also have their phone numbers, so I could text them directly for a cover, etc. And then you can see everyone else's, you know, when they're working to see who could cover, and then you can limit it to just your schedule, like that.
I like those.
Yeah, it's a very efficient system if you use it totally correctly. But again, I write can't work. Some people write can't work. So their blank days is assumed to be they can't work, but my blank days are assumed that I can work. So that could be a big miscommunication on the employees' parts.
Who has the authority to change the schedule?
My boss, Jill. She's the only one that can switch your shifts. Like, I can, like here last week, I switched with one of my coworkers, so she's the only one that can actually change that for you and approve the request.
Okay, how many days you need it for your boss, and if you want to change your schedule?
I switched with Colleen, since I had a cover, I switched with her like a day in advance, just because last minute things come up, but, needing off, I always put that in like, you know, 2 weeks in advance, just so there's no, you know, like I want off for 4th of July weekend. I put that in like 2 months in advance, so no one can really mess with that.
And if there have a rule to require the employee must provide their schedule, how many days 1 week in advance?
There's not really like a set rule of when we should provide it. It's basically if you want off, ask for it at a reasonable, you know, time so you can get off. You know, like Father's Day, I have off so I could be with my dad. Requested that like a month in advance. Like important days that I want off, I make sure I put it in like a month in advance, because if you leave it up to like 3 days or a week in advance, like sometimes like my boss just can't grant it because too many people, like especially 4th of July weekend when it's a popular weekend to request off.
Okay,
You know, it's kind of first come, first serve.
okay.
So I guess that's up to the employees too.
Let's see.
Excuse me, can you send like a screenshot for this?
Yeah.
To share?
So I noticed did we put interview questions in our T2? Or was it just the survey questions? 'Cause I
No,
feel
we put interview too.
Okay.
We wrote it in the essay part, what we had specifically asked by coworkers and boss, but that was only one question, but we have others, I think. Yeah, problem defining interview questions in your day-to-day job functional requirements. What requires your constant attention, and then there's like 4 more. And then there's also like descriptive interview questions like age, gender, et cetera, which we might wanna put in our survey just so we know who we're polling. You know, cause I know my coworkers, but no one else will.
Yeah, but I think I just use it for the gender, age, or the race, something like that. It's like a part for their other value for those parts, 5 points is background information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we survey, we can do like you know how some surveys, it's like fill out your age and your gender? Yeah, and then you take the actual survey, we could add that to it, just so we know exactly who we're polling, you know?
So what other, ideas do you guys have to improve like the missed scheduling?
I think it's maybe because of, the boss doesn't check the schedule frequently, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, I think she needs to, set a procedure, set a separate procedure, especially for the schedule.
I think that'd be a good idea, not even just like to declare someone as like the schedule checker, but to have one of us front desk girls like, promote one of us to specifically checking over the schedule, because, 2 sets of eyes are better
Like a
than
shift
one.
leader or something?
Yeah, exactly. Just to make sure, like, at the end of every, like, she also comes out with the schedule on different days of the week, which I don't care, but, I'm sure some people have, like, some people who are still in high school have, like, strict class scheduling, but, so if she had switched it to, schedule comes out every Sunday,
Yeah.
shift leader checks it every Monday morning and we send it out Monday afternoon, that would be really efficient, I think. Cause then again, it's 2 sets of eyes versus 1. So, that's a good idea. Is it not? Oh my god, it's not. Oh, we'll just use yours. I can start it now, just so we have it.
I'm checking mine's good too. I think you're supposed to tap it once.
Yeah, it's taking
Just take some picture.
Alright, well, yours is good, so we'll just use yours. So right now I'm doing the, came up with the form thing, so I'm just putting our questions in and I'm gonna do a Dropbox to select 1 through 10. That way it's quick and easy. And then I could add the, descriptive questions like you said. And that would be super easy, cause I could just pick like 15 employees at random and send it out to them. And that way I could also share all of these with you guys, so everyone's gonna be sorted.
Wait, you're connecting it to Dropbox?
No, I meant as a, like, you could do multiple choice, or you could do drop down, check boxes,
Oh.
like, it's not really that big of a deal, but it just like, looks like it's less, instead of having 10 multiple choices for each question.
So the survey's gonna include like the background information as well?
Yeah, I can add that in. When is T4 due? Just so I know when.
It's, 7/7?
Is that Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay, so a week from tomorrow. Okay, so I'll have time to send this out to my coworkers over the weekend, which is good.
And then we should plan like days to like go in and interview.
Mm-hmm.
Who
Yeah.
else, your coworker,
Mm-hmm.
manager.
Do we want to, I don't really know if we should or not, but do we want to survey, customers? Yeah, I don't know if we should touch upon customers because, it's a pretty greedy organization, so customer review, we charge people, like parents, $5 out the door just to watch their kids play. And we don't want them to bring coolers into the park, so they have to buy from our concession. So people do not like that. So I don't think it's really necessarily, cause like the only people I can personally get in touch with is, there's a Diamond Jacks team sponsored by Diamond Nation. The only people I could get in touch with are the parents who pay $5,000 a year to get their kids on the team. So they're gonna be saying Diamond Nation is great, Diamond Nation is perfect, blah, 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 just because they don't wanna badly influence their kid. So, customers probably, I mean, we could look at Google reviews. I was actually looking at those the other day. Some are good, some are not so nice. But no, what I was gonna say is, should we survey, my boss? Or should we just strictly interview her? Cause I don't really know what we would survey her about.
I think it'd be better to interview.
Yeah, cause there's only one of her versus 45 coworkers, so I think it would be good to get head-on interaction with her. As long as everyone agrees with that.
So you don't have to like interview and like survey everyone, right? You can choose to do either.
Oh, either or?
Or like, I mean, like we
You have
don't.
to do both, I think, you have to survey and interview, but she was just like asking about like her boss specifically, cause there's only like one of her, so.
What we could do is, what I was planning on doing at least, was there's like 45 people in my department, you know, selecting like 10, 15, and then looking over the results and seeing, you know, if there's one extreme versus another extreme or something, I could pick that person out and just shoot them a few questions and see like why they feel a certain way, and then interview my boss personally, because, you know, like Amy said, one of her versus 40 of us, so that way we get the interview and the survey down and not have to survey 45 people, because there's no way I get my whole department to cooperate on that.
I think, do you think it'd be like easier if you sent out like the surveys to your,
Yeah, I think it
like
would
to
be,
all 45 and then just see like who like responds?
well, yeah,
So
we
then
could do
you
that
get, like, a
too, but that way it's
percentage.
at random and
And
not
then
just
we-
me
yeah.
selecting people.
And then also like, and then for our paper, we can also, like our final paper, we can like have percentages, like 45% about that.
Oh, that's true,
blah, blah, blah.
that's true.
But what if not everyone like responds back?
Well, we could take the total, like say, like I send it out to 45 and 22 people answer, then we could do, you know, 15 out of 22 and whatever percentage that is, you know. But it's like, you know, summer and people are in classes and some people are still in high school, so chances of me getting all 45 responses back are pretty slim. So,
Right.
but it also might be better if it's just a lower number, because then it's just an overall average at random. We don't have to, you know, look over 45 surveys.
And for the whole interview versus surveys thing, like you don't have to do both for each person. You can choose to either.
Yeah, and then we'll
Yeah.
just like interview like a small group, like of, like a small group of her coworkers, I guess, instead of like all of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, you know, again, say 20 out of 45 people take the survey, I can interview like 4 of them. You know, that way we have data to back it up, and then personal quotes, and then just interview my boss. That way there's a good handful of everything, and we could really get a feel on what people are thinking, etc. And like, I have a good rapport with the majority of my, well, all of my coworkers, so I know people will cooperate and, you know, take this and get back to me quickly, which is good.
So like the last bullet point for T2 says like, I'm a little bit confused on what it means. It's either saying, you know, well like on the rubric, it says either, it says you should begin with broad-based interview questions with managers and employees, then collect survey questions or engage in observations a few weeks later. So does this mean with the same employees and managers? Does it mean like different ones?
I think it means the same, because since we're in such a specific, small department in one big company, there's not really options to get different employees. You know, whoever answers is who we're gonna interact with, you know.
So does that mean that we should only send a survey to the people that we're interviewing?
No, we're gonna pick who we're interviewing based on the surveys. Like, I'm gonna send a survey to all 45 of my coworkers. Chances are, hopefully we get 50% back. And then we'll look at the results, and then as a team decide who we want to, because we could interview one person who's really at one end of the spectrum versus one person who's at the other end, and then someone in the middle. And then have 3 collective, personal interviews.
And also we can test our questions, they can answer very clearly, we can adjust or update our questions.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Real quick, I'm making the survey, and one of the questions is, On a scale of 1 to 10, rate your satisfaction working at Diamond Nation, justify your answer. For the survey, you can only make it either a multiple choice or an open-ended, so does the justify your answer part, do we feel that's really necessary? Because I could add another question saying, justify your answer for the question above. I think it is necessary, I just wanna make sure that's,
Yeah, so you can
Everyone-
do like multiple choice
yeah.
and then like.
cause like that question is so broad, we should probably figure out, you know, if they give it a 1, why?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just say, please justify your answer for the question above.
And then also for the interview questions, can we add like, can we ask like whoever we interview, how long they've been working there too?
Yeah, for descriptive part.
Cause I just remember her saying like it has to be really descriptive, you know, and like,
Mhm.
we have to like get into the T, so. Like every detail we have to put into
Yeah.
the people. So when do you think you're gonna send that out?
I can do it today if we need.
And then we should also, pick a time where we can like go up to examination to interview, like sometime like over the weekend or like when's everyone available?
Do we wanna do everyone, or do we wanna just do me, because I live 5 seconds down the road, like I could walk there if I needed, that way instead of all of you guys commuting to Flemington, New Jersey, in the middle of nowhere, I could just,
If we need more people, then we can.
yeah, if I feel I need more people, I'll see who's closest and stuff, but instead of having all of you section out like a solid 3 hours of your day, make more sense, cause I'll be there on Friday to work anyway, so I can literally do it during my shifts and save time and make money while doing it.
I don't know, I feel like we should like split up people, like, you could interview your boss or something like that, and then like,
Okay.
we can interview like half, like some of your employees and the
Mhm.
other could do.
We could also do, if you guys, you know, I'm trying to simplify it as much as, possible. Yes, splitting it up would be best, I think. Yeah, I mean, if we split it up, too, cause I know my boss and the coworkers, like, personally, so maybe having another set of ears there to comprehend what's going on, too, may help.
And then we could write like, I don't know, like maybe like, if we have more people, like, we can pick up on more detail. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And we can say like, this weekend, then you can contact your coworker and ask for us to see if it's available this weekend.
Yeah. My boss, I originally contacted her asking if it was okay if we used Domination, if I gave out her, you know, contact information, and she said, you know, anything that she can do to help, she will, so, I'm sure she would mind, you know, if we feel that all 5 of us should go there and talk to her, cause, you know, everyone interprets things differently, so it might make sense to do that. I'm sure she wouldn't mind sectioning out like a half hour of her time just to run through these questions.
And then I also added another, point in the discussion outline, if everyone can take a look at that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I live in Bridgewater, just like 20 minutes away from Flemington,
Yeah.
so I could probably go there this weekend.
Okay.
Do we all like live relatively close to the Flemington?
Yeah.
I feel like that's
We just make sure the date and time is very sure.
Mhm.
on that.
So, like I said, I'm working Friday.
We don't know for it.
So Friday, right after my shift around 3, my boss usually stays till 5. I can ask her within that 2-hour range if there's a solid amount of time that she could break away for us.
So Friday, 3.
Yeah, Friday, 3 o'clock, Flemington, New Jersey.
And then whoever's like not like busy, I guess we can pull them out like
Yeah,
10 minutes,
yeah, yeah.
10 minutes or something like that.
Well, there's 2 complexes, one's right down the road, which is where I usually work. So whoever comes in for my shift, I can real quickly conversate with them. So that's one person, and then over at Diamond Nation, the front there, it's usually 4 to 5 girls. So that right there, we have like a pool of like 6 people to pick from who we want to directly survey. And then, if that's not sufficient enough, I can always contact my, because I'm friends outside of work with these girls too and guys. So,
Do you think they can allow us report?
I don't see why not. I mean,
We should do like an audio, like just in case. Like,
yeah, I'll make sure I ask their permission, or we ask their permission. My boss definitely won't care, cause she's used to this stuff. I don't see why my coworkers would care, but if they do, then we respect that and just write down what they write, or what they say.
So Friday at 3. Okay. So should we like split up? So you're interviewing your boss,
Yeah.
and then me and Zane could be one group.
Since there's 6, probably 6 or 7 people in 2 complexes, it might make sense if like you 2 go to the one complex and get the one girl, and then you 2 go to the other complex and get like 2 girls. You can interview one, you can interview another, and then I will also be at that bigger complex interviewing my boss. So if something goes wrong.
And then like everyone should just we should just have like the audio recording, and then
Yeah.
like come back and then.
I could also look at the schedule and see who's gonna be there and get their permission ahead of time
Okay.
for the audio recording if we wanted to do that, but.
I think we just hit like 30 minutes of recording. Just, like, for,
Oh, for this? Let's
yeah, I
see.
mean, do you want to quickly like recap what we like learned today or something like that? Before we end it?
I mean,
Just like
28 minutes.
okay, alright. So just like summarize, so our output problem, or the problem that Diamond Nation is having is the miscommunication between the boss and employees about when employees are available and when they should be scheduled, and they use this through, schedule base. And, I believe, we had, like, 4 different strategies we discussed to fix this communication gap. There was like a hard, 1 week in advance limit that we were discussing. There were like, there's also just like, someone should, check more frequently. Is there any other, strategies to like improve this?
To assign like a shift overviewer manager type person. Like if she asked me, Tara, real quick, every Monday, can you check my work? I'm totally fine with that. Obviously, I
have, like, a
request
shift
a little
change
raise,
or
but
something.
it's not hard. You can do it from home if you need to. So that would be definitely an easy and efficient change.
And, then the survey part, can you, talk some, background about Diamond Nation?
Yeah, I wrote a lot about it in T2. How there's 2 complexes in Flemington. They're right down the road from each other. Jack Huss Sr. is who, financially started it up. He has 3 sons, Jack, Kevin, and Mike. Jack played for the Oakland Athletics, which is a Major League Baseball team. So that's how the whole baseball thing started. Flemington is like a really empty little town with a lot of fields. So they looked at a field and, made a profit out of it. The 2 other bosses, the 2 other sons, Kevin and Mike, are in the management system. So Mike, I think he handles finances, and Kevin handles, like tournament directing and stuff like that, so the whole family's really involved, and, you know, they're really, like, they show up. Jack Huss Senior's real nice. They all live locally too. The one actually lives in my neighborhood, so they're there, like, and they're on the ball. And again, they grew up playing baseball, so they know the game better than anyone. And people will feel confident learning and training at a facility where it's ran by a kid who was in the Major League Baseball Association, you know? It's not just like me coaching them, it's like an actual pro athlete that's coaching them. So, that's pretty much the gist of it.
How about the organization structure?
It's Diamond Nation itself is a 6-field complex.
Mm-hmm.
2 are smaller fields for like T-ball and younger kids, and then the other 4 are bigger. The 4 bigger fields, depending on what age limit the tournaments are, every weekend there's different age tournaments. So like this past weekend was 16U. Next weekend could be 13. We don't know. But if it's like a 13U, they're smaller and they play on a different size field. So like those bigger fields, they usually break up with fences. So what could be 6 fields turns into 8 and vice versa. And then at Jack Huss Baseball Academy, which is down the road, that's one big field. In the winter, they put a dome on it. So they're still making profit throughout the winter. Which again could be divided up into multiple fields. Usually in the winter it turns into 4. So all together, you know, if the dome's up and the other fields are divided, they could have like 12 fields going, and I mean there's a tournament every weekend, like there's no days off there, and they very rarely cancel games, like it has to be lightning, you know, they're making a profit at all times, so there's that, and then trying to think what else structure wise. There's a concession at the big facility, and it's like a nice concession, like breakfast, lunch, dinner meals, like, there's a scout tower on top of concession, which overlooks all the fields, which is where college scouts go to recruit. And then there's obviously the main complex, which is where I work. And then the boss's offices are all upstairs, so it's all like glassed off, so they can see the facility, they can see downstairs on us, like there's cameras